Hi and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about something that happens when you have an unhealthy self-esteem. So if you're new here, I am a life coach and I help people develop a healthy relationship with themselves so that they become confident, they are self-assured in themselves and they feel comfortable in who they are so that they can be their authentic self in front of people. And when they have a healthy relationship with their own selves, when they're happy in themselves, the life that they create or every area of their life like career relationship also gets impacted for the better. All right, so today I'm going to talk about procrastination, or I would like to go a step further and say that when you are not able to do the things that you want to do, so suppose there are so many things that you want to do that you feel the potential that what, I would love to take up this role, or I would like to apply for this promotion, or I want to be in this industry or be in this arena. I want to because I feel that I can do this, but something to stop you, a fear so strong. So first is this thing, and second, I'm also going to consider procrastination, right? So this video is about procrastination, when there is something we know that we have to do, something we want to do also, but we're not able to. So we call it procrastination. That I'm procrastinating. So today's video is about that, and oftentimes we think that I'm procrastinating because there's no motivation, so it's lack of motivation, or I'm lazy. So we are going to. So I'm not going to. I want to tell you that that's not truth, because oftentimes our procrastination. I mean, there are a lot of other things that are playing beneath the procrastination, and we are going to go into that depth today. So we are basically going to cover how our unhealthy self-esteem, how when we have an unhealthy relationship with ourselves, when there is this constant shame or that feeling of that I am not good enough, या फिर I am not capable enough, या फिर there's something wrong with me. So when we operate from this dominant belief, from this dominant thought, how procrastination is not about laziness or toxic, lack of motivation, but how this feeling, this shame, this unhealthy self-esteem actually fuels procrastination into our life. How our unhealthy self-esteem affects our career or overall growth in life, because it leads us to procrastinate. It feeds such a fear in us that we feel so scared to do the things. And why does this happen? What is what fear is at play here? We're going to talk all about it, and by the end we are going to find out, okay, what do you need to do to overcome this procrastination so that you can go beyond it, so that you are able to do the things that you want to do. So we are going to learn all about the mindset that's required, or I'm going to share a few insights with you that's going to help you. So yeah, stick to the video. So let's just start. So I'll just give you, I'll just let you know why procrastination exactly happens, or how your unhealthy self-esteem leads you to procrastinate. See, procrastination happens because there's fear of failure, a very strong fear of failure, right? And this fear of failure comes from us having an unhealthy self-esteem. So if I'm somebody who has a very dominant belief that I'm not good enough, or there's something wrong with me, I'm going to have a very unhealthy and toxic relationship with making mistakes. So for me, failing or making a mistake will be a very big thing. It will be no less than life and death situation. So I'm going to avoid. I'm going to have this fear of failure, which means that I'm always going to scan for the things in my environment, that if I'm doing this or if I'm going here, are there any chances of me failing, or of me just making mistake, or me just appearing less than perfect, less than good. So I will develop this strong fear of failure, or just making mistake, or just being looked at or being perceived as someone not good enough. And when I have this fear of failure, procrastination is just going to happen effortlessly. And it would happen so subconsciously, unconsciously, that I would not even know that it is happening, because I have this fear of failure. My mind would give me other excuses, like maybe I'm lazy, I'm not disciplined enough, or I lack motivation, intrinsic motivation. When in reality, it is fueled by your unhealthy self-esteem, because your unhealthy self-esteem, or the shame that we carry, it makes us scared of making mistakes so much. So it's like our relationship with making mistakes or failures is very toxic. It's very unhealthy, to the level that we just try to avoid failing or making mistakes, which in reality is it's very impractical. Because to fail, if you're going to learn something new, so if you're entering something, a new zone, or you're just stepping out of your comfort zone, making mistake is it's a part of learning something. It's a part of becoming skilled at something. So if we start to avoid failures, if we start to, try our best to not make any mistake ever, it means that we are costing ourselves opportunities. We are not letting ourselves explore our own selves, explore new opportunities, or which actually means we end up stunting our own growth, stopping us from our own growth. So yes, I want you to keep this in mind, that procrastination is happening because we have a strong fear of failure. And I will go in depth also that what is one thing that actually makes this procrastination. And I will also let you know that what is something that actually makes this procrastination even intense. And we will talk about it. So yes, I'm going to share points which will actually change how you look at procrastination. So just remember this entire equation, that procrastination happens because we have a very strong fear of failing, right? Fear of failure or making mistake. And we have this strong fear because we have an unhealthy self-esteem, because we already have limiting or destructive beliefs about my own self. So I already have a distorted self-image of my own. Alright, so let's get started. And first, let's talk about why do you fear failure so much. So why am I so scared of failing? So first, I already talked that it is fueled by because of my low self-esteem. So let's go deeper in. Let's go in much depth into this. So what do I mean when I say that I have an unhealthy self-esteem? So when I say I have an unhealthy self-esteem, what I mean basically is that so the core that I have, or the foundation of self that I have, or my self beliefs, or my self image, the way I see myself, how I feel and think about my own self, it's limiting, right? It's limited, or I have a lot of negative self beliefs about my own self. So the kind of self talk, or the kind of how my inner voice looks like is, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable enough, I'm not lovable enough. There's this constant theme, or the environment of my inner world remains most of the times like there's something wrong with me, I lack something, there's some defect in me, so I am not good enough. Or you can also and all of these thoughts lead you to feel shame in you. So there is this constant feeling of shame because I have a very dominant feeling that there's something wrong with me, so I'm flawed or I'm inferior. So that is what a low self-esteem means. Now when we have a low self-esteem, we are already feeling not good enough in our own selves, and then we end up we end up associating our worth, our self-worth, which is already at the pit. So right now I have my self-worth is almost zero. So if I have a low self-esteem, my self-worth is almost zero, right? Already zero. So there's this constant feeling of unworthiness, and I don't deserve things. So now what happens is we make a relationship, or we make an association in our head that failing or making mistake, that if I fail or if I make a mistake, it would reinforce that feeling of shame within me. So if I fail, what would happen? I would start to feel very bad about my own self. So what is happening is that failing or making mistake is not a normal thing anymore. So my relationship with making mistakes or failures or failing is an unhealthy one. So for me, my self-worth is equal to my performance. And when I say my performance, it means that I can either be successful or I can either fail at something, right? It can be either successful or failure. So now I'm just scared that, okay, if I fail, it means that my self-worth, that is, which is already zero, which means that my feeling of that unworthiness, that I don't deserve things, that I don't deserve to be here. We even start to question our life, that do I even deserve to be here? Do I even deserve to live? Such thoughts start to happen. So what I wanted to tell you is that why we fear failure so much, because we have this feeling of shame, and we make a relationship, we make an association in our head that if I fail, every time I make a mistake, suppose I'm talking to somebody, and if I stammer, if I fumble, so and I would I will have a very critical lens towards my own self. So it's not that other people are judging me, I am going to judge myself first. That is what starts to happen when you have an unhealthy relationship with your own self. It's like you become your own biggest critic. You are the first person who is judging your own self, but your mind will make you feel that I am judging myself to protect myself so that other people cannot judge me. Alright, so coming back to the point that I was talking about, so when I already have this very critical lens towards my own self, to look at my own self, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be very cautious of making mistake, because for me it's like every time I make a mistake, that feeling of shame will be reinforced within me, and I don't want to feel that feeling of shame for a lot of time, because every time I feel that all those thoughts start to come up, that I'm worthy, I'm so incapable, do I even deserve to be here, I'm so unworthy, So all those feelings which are definitely undesirable, and nobody wants to feel that way. At the end of the day, we are all human beings. So even if you have a low self-esteem, and that is why you would notice that if you have a low self-esteem, your constant state would be kind of unhappiness or sadness, or anger or resentment, because we are holding on to so much negative feelings and emotions about your own self, and it's not about others also. So it's like the home you are in, because your body is like your home. So when you do not like the person you are, when you do not like the body you are in, it's like you're trapped in a home where you do not want to be. So it's like a constant state of unhappiness, a constant where you are constantly praying that, okay, I wish I was not this person, I wish I could become somebody like somebody else. So I mean, this is what happens when you have an unhealthy relationship with your own self, when you have when you have a low self-esteem. So you avoid fear, so you have this fear of failure, because for you, every time you make a mistake, every time you fail at something, it's not a normal thing, when in reality it is. Failing is normal. So if you're learning something new, you are going to fail, right? But for me, for somebody who has a low self-esteem, making mistake would mean that it would just bring back all those feeling of shame, or I'm not good enough, and as a human being, I don't want to keep feeling that again and again. Nobody wants to have negative emotions, nobody wants to feel not good enough. So I'm going to avoid those things, because it reinforces that feeling of shame within me. So now I just explained you why or how does an unhealthy self-esteem would bring a strong fear of failure within me, because now I've attached my self-worth to my ability to make mistakes. That is my performance. So my performance is equal to my self-worth. So if I perform badly, that is, if I fail, if I make mistake, it means that my value is it means that I'm not valuable enough. It's going to directly impact my self-worth, and it's all happening in your own mind. So you know what? In reality, all of us are born with self-worth. We are all valuable. So we are all born with innate value. But our sense, or you can say that our concept of self-worth gets created or developed by how much loved, appreciated, accepted we felt growing up. And that is the basis of why does one have an unhealthy self-esteem. So if you are somebody who has a low self-esteem, if you wonder that why do I have a low self-esteem at the first place, it is because I think the origin of a low self-esteem is in the childhood, the kind of environment that you grew up in, the kind of messages that you received growing up, how you felt growing up. Did you feel good enough, or did you feel accepted or not? Alright, so I'll not go into depth today, because today we are just going to talk about procrastination, because we want to understand, okay, how can I go beyond it if I have it. So okay, so next let's move to procrastination. So now you know one part of the equation, that is procrastination happens because I have a strong fear of failure. Now and today right now I help you understand why do you have a strong fear of failure when you have a low self-esteem. So we know this equation, right? Now let's understand procrastination and fear of failure, how these two are attached. See, as I said that we have now attached our self-worth with our performance, that my performance is equal to my self-worth. So bad performance, that is failing, means my self-worth gets impacted. I have zero self-worth, and nobody wants to keep feeling that again and again. Nobody wants to be reminded of that again and again. So now let's understand something about procrastination. See, if you're procrastinating, I want you to notice something. Procrastination happens oftentimes because somewhere in my mind, somewhere within me, I have this desire, or I have this expectation from my own self that if I'm doing something, the end result needs to be success. I need to excel at this. I need to deliver perfect result. I need to deliver 10 out of 10 performance. So what is happening exactly? What is beneath procrastination? Beneath procrastination is my expectation from my own self, where I'm telling myself, or where I am expecting myself to deliver a very good performance. It's like telling myself that if you're doing this, the end result has to be success. You have to excel at it. You have to get 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I'm not okay with you, I'm not okay with you delivering anything less than success or excelling at it, or 10 out of 10. So what is happening right now? We don't know about it. We are not very conscious of it that we're doing it. But yeah, so I was saying that what are we doing here? So we are not aware of this very very clearly, very visibly, but we have put a pressure upon our own selves internally, that if I'm doing this, the end result needs to be perfect. The end result needs to be 10 by 10. I need to deliver a performance which is no less than perfection, or I need to be successful at this if I'm doing this. And take it from me, if you put this pressure on yourself, and when you're doing anything, even if you put this pressure on somebody who does not have a low self-esteem, it's going to increase the chances of you making mistakes. So like it's going to feed that fear into you, because as a human we all can make mistakes. You can never be sure that you know, if I'm doing certain thing, I'm not going to make any mistake, I'm just not going to fail at it. Because probability of failing is always going to be there, right? But here what has happened, so what is actually the reason of you procrastinating? It's the reason is that somewhere you are expecting from your own self that I need to be successful at this, that I need to deliver a performance which is equal to perfection, that I need to deliver a perfect performance. And where is this desire coming from? Where is this expectation coming from? So that I can feel worthy enough in myself, because I have made an equation in myself, within myself, that my performance is equal to my self-worth. So you're seeing where I'm making a faulty equation exactly. So the fault is actually in this connection that I've made, that my performance is equal to my self-worth, which is not true. No matter what you do, no matter how you do things, that's your performance, and your performance, your ability to do something, is not related to your self-worth. But this is something which is not how we look at, you know, ourselves. Because when we have an unhealthy self-esteem, we believe that my performance or the way I do things, it is equal to my self-worth. That determines my value. So if I'm doing something bad, it means I'm not valuable. So if there's something that is new to me, that I've never done before, or something that wherein there are chances that I might fail, and I know it within, but at the same time I have this pressure that, you know what, because my self-worth is equal to performance, if I'm doing this, the only thing that should happen, so there is a should, you know, expectation, pressure that I've put on myself, that if I'm doing this, I must make sure that I'm only succeeding, that the end result is a 10 by 10, you know, I'm only delivering a perfect performance. When you put a pressure upon your own self, because now it's playing on within you, that okay, I have this expectation, but at the same time I have this fear that I might fail also. So the best thing to do, let's not do it anyway. So that is how your body protects you from failing, or from being at a point where you might fail, where you might deliver a performance which is less than perfection, which will, you know, eventually feed your shame or reinforce that feeling of shame. So that is how this fear of failure it's trying to protect you only. It's trying to protect you from feeling that, again, feeling of shame within you. But you see how it is not helping you, because for growth to happen, logically you know that I want to do this, I have to do this if I want this thing to happen in my life, or if, you know, if I'm aiming at this career, if this is an exam that I want to clear out, or if this is a business that I want to work towards, I need to do this thing, I need to get this thing done, or I need to learn this skill. So logically you know, but because you have a low self-esteem, your fear of failure is going to protect you from what? Protect you from feeling that feeling of shame and not good enough, because it thinks that if you do something wherein there are chances of you failing, it knows that you will again go back to a point where your feeling of shame gets reinforced. So it tries to protect you from feeling that undesirable feeling, as a result of which it ends up making you procrastinate. And on the surface you would think that, you know, I'm procrastinating because I don't know why I'm procrastinating. Maybe it is laziness, maybe it's because I lack motivation, I don't know. So I want you to check in with your own self, that the thing that you're procrastinating with, ask yourself that is there a pressure, or am I expecting myself, or have I put a you know, what do you call, a condition on myself, that if I'm doing this I need to excel at it, I mean I need to succeed. Is there an expectation that you're holding on to like that? So have you put a pressure upon your own self? Or another question is that, am I okay with not succeeding at this, or am I okay if I fail at this thing if I do it? And if there's any hesitation, you would know that yes, it is your fear of failure that is actually making you procrastinate, so as to protect you from failing, so as to protect you from feeling that, from again, you know, feeling shame in your own self. So as a way, you're procrastinating because your fear of failure is trying to protect you from feeling that shame. It is trying to protect you from feeling disappointed in your own self again, because it again makes you feel that it again reinforces that feeling that I'm not good enough. Why am I even here? Do I deserve certain things in life or not? And when this is the environment of your inner world, it is going to it is going to impact the actions that you take, as a result of which the chances are very high that you self-sabotage, that you play small, that you only end up limiting yourself to your comfort zone. And that is why it's so important that you work on your feelings, that you work how you the foundation of self that you have, the feeling of shame, the self-hatred, the self-criticism that you hold within your own self, because it is impacting you in so much area. So this is just procrastination that I'm talking about. It is just one aspect of how your core or your low self-esteem affects you. And that is why it is so important that one develops a healthy relationship with themselves, so that they are able to do things, so that they allow themselves to make mistake. All right, so I'll move ahead now. Now let's go on to let's I just want to share something with you, that even though failure has become a very big thing for us when we have a low self-esteem, in reality failing is a very normal thing. If you are doing anything, probability is never going to be zero that you fail at it. And the thing that happens is, if I am somebody who has a low self-esteem, or if I have an unhealthy relationship with my own self, I am going to somewhere expect perfection from myself, that I need to be perfect, because there's that ego at place. Because now what's happening, I am deriving my feeling of good enough in my own self from my performance. I will always be expecting certain kind of perfection from my own self when we have an unhealthy self-esteem. And that is where the fault is, because in reality anybody who has achieved something, or anybody who you inspire to be, failing is very normal. If you want to succeed at something, you will fail at it. That's like how you learn. So in reality failures are very very normal. Any person who you see that this person seems so perfect, if you truly look at them, you will see how much time they have failed, how much time they have delivered that imperfect performance to reach a stage where now you find them to be like perfect. So the only way to what seems like perfect to you is progress. And how do you progress? How do you become skilled at something? Practice, practice, practice. And for you to practice, you need to be okay with delivering a performance which is less than perfect. Alright, so in reality, making mistake, failing at certain things, or giving up performance, or delivering result which is less than perfect, it is something that is truth. That is the truth. You have to cross this path to reach a stage where you feel that now I'm perfect enough, or now what I'm doing is perfect enough. And in reality there is no perfection. Nobody on this planet feels that, to you definitely you would find certain people perfection and how they do certain things perfect. But if you go ask them, they will always say that no, there's still room for improvement. Everybody feels the fear. It's about, are you able to go beyond your fear? Are you able to offer yourself the chance to make mistake, just because you believe that I'm worthy of this thing, I can do this thing? Do you have that self-faith, that belief in your own self? And that is what doing inner work is about. Okay, so yeah, and when we start to avoid failures, because we have a very unhealthy association in our own mind that making mistake is a personal thing. When we start to have this mindset that if I fail, it means I'm not good enough, we would start to unconsciously we would start to avoid failures in our life. And when we avoid failures in our life, that's like we are stunting our own growth. We are making a decision not to ever step out of my comfort zone, not to learn something new, not to enter any area which is new to me. And when we do that, we are stopping our growth. We do not offer ourselves a chance to expand our potential, to realize our potential. Even when we know that, okay, I have the potential, I know that there are so many things that I can do, the only thing that's left is that I go and give myself a chance, that I go and do the thing. And what stops you from taking that action? It's procrastination. It's this fear of failure, the strong fear that stands in between. So now let's come to the solution part. Now here I'm going to tell you certain things which will be kind of like insights, which is going to change how you look at procrastination, how you look at your fear of making mistake. So it's going to help you go beyond your procrastination. So first is, I want you to have this understanding. So whatever information that I gave you right now, or how I explained to you procrastination, that how your procrastination is actually linked to, comes from a strong fear of failure, and how that fear of failure is fed by your low self-esteem, and how what is actually beneath procrastination is an unhealthy association and equation that you have created in your mind, which is my self-worth is equal to my performance. So keep this in mind. You must have this awareness, because up until now, when we do not understand procrastination, we are blaming ourselves that it is because I'm lazy, it is because I lack motivation, or I don't know what is happening. So we turn towards self-criticism. But now when you have the understanding, you will be able to understand yourself better, and now you will be able to move towards solution, move towards doing certain things that can help you go beyond procrastination. So first step is have this awareness, right? It helps you separate yourself from this procrastination that you're doing, so that you can work on it. So first is have this awareness, right? Let this sit in, that right now how I'm seeing things, that my performance, if I fail or if I succeed, that determines my value. In reality, that is not true. We need to let go of this equation that we have made in our mind, because self-worth, the value that we have within our own self, it's always intact. Okay, so next point is, I want you to take off the pressure that you have. So as I said, when we are procrastinating, we are not aware of it, but within ourselves we have put a kind of pressure on ourselves that if I'm doing this thing, or let's suppose it's an exam that I'm preparing for. So I have an expectation from my own self that if I'm doing it, I need to be successful at it. If I fail, it means something about me. It will be a personal thing to me. Let go of that pressure. All right, which means that I want you to also consider the possibility of you failing at it. Consider it. It's like, because when we are when we feel the fear of failure, it's like we are definitely imagining something. So we are already playing in the imagination. So I want you to imagine this thing, that if you fail, are you okay with it, or is that thing so catastrophic, like it is so damaging, it is so big, such a big thing, that you are ready to quit the path, that you are ready to decide that I just don't want to walk this path, just because there is this chance of me failing at it also. So when I say that, take off the pressure from your own head, that okay, I need to succeed at this. If I'm doing this thing, I need to deliver the perfect performance, or it needs to be a 10 by 10. The result, are you able to let go of your control over the result? Are you okay with the probability of failing also? So I want you to consider that case also. Become okay with it and see what is happening, and only then you will be able to take a decision that, am I okay with failing, or am I okay with this fact that if I do this thing, the result can be anything. It's not under my hand. Yes, I can give my best. So because what will happen when you do this? It's like it will take off the pressure from you. Because right now what's happening, we put a pressure on ourselves. Pressure that it needs to be perfect. So if I'm doing it, it needs to be in the perfect way, which will not happen, because if you're doing something new, in the beginning you will be learning it. It's like you will be in the learning phase, and being in learning phase means that you're going to it's going to be like, so your focus should be on progress, not on perfection, like when you're just starting with something. So second thing, take off the pressure from yourself. So sit with what you're procrastinating on. Ask yourself the question, what am I scared of failing at, or am I okay if I fail at this thing, or if I'm not very good in the initial phase of doing it? Ask yourself this, because perfection is holding you back. So to let go of that perfection, you need to let go of this desire that I need to be perfect when I do this, or I need to be successful at this if I'm doing it. So sit with this. Now third is, change your relationship with making mistake. That is this equation that we have, that my self-worth is equal to my performance. We want to change it. It is not true. So for this, I just want to tell you that our self-worth is actually within us. It's actually unaffected by whatever happens around us, but our concept of self-worth is developed. We develop our concept of self-worth from how much loved we felt, how much accepted. So we growing up relate our self-worth to performance. But I want you to take this insight today with you to your home, that your self-worth is not attached to your performance. So detach your performance from your self-worth. So have this awareness. So every time you find yourself attaching or deriving your value or your self-worth from anything that you do, even from good things, that I could do this, I'm so valuable. Detach it. Stop deriving your value from how you do things, because it is not helping us, because it has led you to have an unhealthy relationship with making mistakes or failures. So we need to change the kind of relationship that we have with making mistakes or failures. So we want to reach a stage where it's neutral, where we are not very much affected by failing, where we are able to allow ourselves the room for mistake, the room for to make mistakes. And only then you would be able to, uh, so suppose you have a certain, desire in terms of your gut, that I want to do this. So there are a lot of attempts. So even if it is about giving interviews, you cannot just give one interview, and if you fail at it, or if you are not selected at it, you cannot just come and sit home. For you to actually be able to achieve this thing, to have an entry in the kind of career that you want, you need to have enough faith in your own self to keep appearing until you have what you want. Yeah. And next, move with acceptance. Now, what do I mean when I say move with acceptance? So basically, right now, what is happening when I'm procrastinating, my that perfection is holding me back. So there are a lot of expectations that I have. I've put up a lot of conditions for my own self, a lot of pressure on my own head. So now, to move ahead, to go beyond procrastination, to just decide that do I want to do this or do I not want to do this, to just move ahead, go ahead with one of the decisions, I need to have acceptance. And where would the acceptance come from? From first being aware of, okay, what is happening with me, and then take a decision that, okay, I understand now that procrastination is happening because I have a lot of expectations from my own self, because I'm not okay with failing or with delivering a performance which is less than perfection. So consider all of the possibilities, know yourself, have the awareness, and then take a decision. Move, because you will only be able to move beyond procrastination with acceptance. Once you have accepted the things, that either you decide that now I'm willing to acknowledge or accept the fact that yes, if I do this thing, I'm not going to be very perfect at it in the beginning, or at the end I might not be I might not succeed at it also. But then you ask yourself, am I willing to walk this path despite like even with that possibility? What is more important to me? What is my priority? What am I gonna choose after I know all the possibilities? So move with acceptance. So have the accept the things as they are and then make a decision. Last point, treat tasks or goals like experiments and challenge yourself. Now why? Because it would help you take off the pressure. Now I've had my own personal experience with this. It really helps. So if there's something which you're not good at right now, which or you believe that I'm not actually good to that extent where I can do this thing, and you're new to it, right? But you want to do it. It is important to you. It is your priority, and the only thing that is stopping you is perfection. That only if I was better at it, only if I could do it this way, only if I could be more skilled at it. If that is something that is happening with you in terms of you procrastinating, I want you to treat that thing like an experiment, and I want you to take a challenge to do it. It truly helps, because when you treat something like a challenge, when you start to treat a task or to the journey towards a goal like an experiment, like that, let me challenge myself to just do this thing, to just read one page, or to just study this thing every day for just half an hour, for just 10 minutes, but regularly for 21 days or for 30 days or just for 15 days. You can choose the day, but I want you to challenge yourself. Treat it like an experiment, because when you do it like that, it becomes like a game. You're not attaching your self-worth with it anymore. It's like it becomes less serious, so it takes off the pressure from your head. And the good thing is that when you start doing it, so when you take the challenge and when you start with the challenge, by the time you have reached 21st day, or by the time you have reached 15th day, you will, when you look back, you will feel the progress so much. You will feel the shift within you, so much so that you won't be able to resist with continue doing the things or tasks even after you have completed the challenge. Because when you are procrastinating, perfection or our expectation to be perfect at doing things is something that actually holds us back a lot. So it's both fear of failure, because somewhere we just want to deliver perfect performance, And when you take the challenge, you let go of this perfectionism from yourself, because now you have given yourself a challenge that no matter what, no matter what, no matter how I perform, I need to do this thing every day for just 10 minutes, for just 20 minutes, for just 1 hour, I don't know. Or give yourself a number that I'm going to create one of this sample or one of this piece every day without failure for just 21 days. Because when we do that, perfectionism leaves, right? Because then it becomes a game of number, like delivering in quantity. We're not caring about quality. In the beginning, you don't have to care about the quality. With time, you will notice that, okay, I am improving, the progress is happening. I'm on my own becoming more skilled. I'm seeing the progress in my own self. It would help you get started, and getting started is the most important when you're procrastinating. Because see, fear is nothing but us playing an imagination and then becoming so fearful with that. So it's all in our imagination. But when we get started, it's like we approach reality, and reality is never as fearful as we as we feel in our imagination. So taking this challenge is like growing closer to reality, looking things for what they are in reality. Alright, so this was it for today. I hope you have a clear understanding of why you are procrastinating, or how your unhealthy self-esteem, the foundation of self-criticism or dislike for the self or disapproval for the self affects your ability to do things, to get things done. And I think it mostly impacts your career, not just career, even simple things like you just want to go dance at your friend's wedding, or you just want to be carefree with dancing at people's wedding, but it would stop you because now there is this again there's that equation: performance is equal to self-worth. So if I don't dance well, there's this fear of judgment also. What are people going to think? My value is going to deplete, so it's not fun anymore. So I hope you understand that how the unhealthy self-esteem that you have, the unhealthy relationship that you have with your own self, how it leads you to have so much expectation from your own self, how it leads you to have that urge to be perfect, when in reality there's nothing perfect. What needs to happen is acceptance for who you are at present, and that is the work I do. I help you understand yourself. I help you go deep into your own self. So we let go of our connection or of our concern with the outer world, with the external world, with other people, what other people think of me. We let go of all these needs. We go within you. We look at what is right now within me. What is the core that I have? If it is self-hatred, if it is self-criticism, we look at it, we process it, we face it, so that we can let go of it. And when you let go of self-hatred, you make space for self-love. And when self-love enters, it comes with understanding. It comes with you forgiving your own self. And when you start to feel peaceful and comfortable in your body, how you experience life, it changes. Life starts to feel more meaningful, and you start to create one such life for you. The kind of people, the kind of relationship that you form changes, because once you start to be authentic in your own self, you start to find such people, the same kind of people with who you actually form genuine relationships in your life. And you're able to do so many things, because now fear is not what is stopping you. You allow yourself to make mistakes. So yes, if this is something that you want, that if you want to build a healthy and loving relationship with your own self, I welcome you to work with me. You can book a one-on-one clarity call with me to begin with, and I do offer a 60-minute free clarity call at present. So if you want to book a clarity call with me, just DM me coaching on WhatsApp. And if you're new here, you're not in my WhatsApp community, I will give the link in the description. Join the group first, and from there you can always DM me coaching. And other than that also, I keep writing in my community, so do join my community if this is something that you want for your own self. Alright, so this was it for today, and I will meet you tomorrow with another topic, and we will explore another depth. Bye bye.